knowing what is happening around you, knowing the state of things, so you can anticipate on what's going to happen. We call that situational awareness. In this episode, I'm going to take you through some practical examples I encountered while being on a lounge that increased my situational awareness. We're going to look through my eyes and see what I see in the hope that you'll learn something from this. Welcome to Flight Coach. If you're new here, my name is Bas van Duin and it is my mission to help you get more out of life and your flying career to having less stress and more skills. So today's episode is extra special for me because it's the first one that I'm releasing while having over 1,000 subscribers. So thank you all for your continued support and interest in the stuff that I'm making on a weekly basis. I'm super happy with that and looking forward to what the next half year is going to bring this channel. One of the things that's new and that you may see appearing on the channel within the next few days is a community tab. And via that tab, I can keep you informed of what I'm working on, maybe pull your interest on some stuff, and I think we're going to do some awesome things with that. So let's get back to the topic of the video that I'm making today, situational awareness. So when you walk up to a location where you're planning to launch, there is a thing called situational awareness. Not to be confused with positional awareness, that's something else. It means being aware of the situation, knowing what is happening around you, what the state of things are, but also by having that information, being able to anticipate on what may happen. And I think this is an important skill to possess as a pilot. So I'm going to share some examples with you that I shot on my most recent flying trip. Stick around to the end because I have a tip coming that I see happening all the time and I think it's something we can easily improve upon, and I managed to catch it on camera. Let's take right off by staying on the ground, actually, the takeoff grounds. Use your helmet as a bowling ball. Now this is something that I see happening very often. People put their helmet down once they take it out of their bag, and they put it, of course, on the flat side of the helmet because they know that it's not going to roll away like that. What happens when someone accidentally hits your helmet with their feet? Yes, it starts rolling down the mountain, and if you're lucky, you're going to get it back, but probably it will start bouncing, you'll never find it again, or even if you can find it again, you should replace it because it has endured a lot of internal structural damage. You do not want your helmet rolling down the hill, and I've seen it happen countless times. There's an easy way to prevent that. I think a helmet should be in either one of two states. It should be in your bag with the zippers closed, or it should be attached to something, being your head or your harness. I have seen a lot of ankle and leg injuries because of people stumbling on takeoff over obstacles or holes or differently textured terrain than they expected. And why did they have the wrong expectations? Because they did not check their launch path before taking off. Now I don't have any actual footage of this, but I'm sure you can make a mental picture for yourself. When you arrive at a takeoff location, always explore the takeoff path. So that is the runway that you're going to use. Now that's quite an easy thing to do. Just take a little casual stroll and check the surface. Check if there are any bumps in there. Maybe there are rabbit holes. Make sure that you know what to expect so you can anticipate on dealing with it. If you leave a like, a comment or subscribe to the channel, that way you're letting the YouTube algorithm know that my content is interesting for someone of your profile, and the YouTube algorithm will in turn show my stuff to more people. So thanks for helping out. Don't make spaghetti out of your lines and risers. As you can see in this picture, from a distance it all looks quite nice, but actually this is not how a glider should be left on the ground. Of course you can make nice loops of the lines, but you should not put the risers on top of those loops, because when the wind starts playing with the glider or just gravity happens, the risers tend to slide through the lines, making all kinds of nasty spaghetti tangles. There is a very easy way to prevent this mess from occurring if you have the loops over your hand and the glider in the mushroom. Just put it down and make sure when the risers are here, you just put the risers outside of the loop area next to the glider, not on top of the glider, and there's no way that this big mess will occur to you. Open your cells before takeoff. Now this is something we all learn in basic training, but somehow some of us tend to forget it along the way. If you position your glider in a beautiful banana or half moon-like shape, it is also important that the cell openings are actually opened. That's why they're called cell openings, right? I actually spoke to him, your cells are closed. Would you like me to help you open them up for you? And he said, no, it's no problem. I have enough runway to fix this. Now, if you have not seen my previous video yet, I can highly recommend that you do that after this one. I'll leave a link right here. But this is exactly what I also discussed in the previous video. What this man is doing is setting up for failure. There is no need to take extra runway because someone is offering to open your cells. You could have done it yourself. It is just introducing extra risk, extra problems. Who would want that? Beware of tourists on launch. Now this is something that can be seen in any scenic flying location or on locations where commercial tandem pilots are flying. There are passengers, and those passengers bring friends and family to watch. These are the most dangerous people in general on a takeoff because they have absolutely no idea on what to do and what not to do. I've actually had people standing on my glider on takeoff because it was so crowded and they thought it was just some kind of sail that was below my wing. It's generally very easy to recognize non-flying people on a takeoff. They tend to make a lot of noise, they bring their dogs, they walk in spots where they should not be walking, they throw their garbage around, they tend to look a bit out of shape. I think I don't need to go any further. Beware of tourists and feel free to direct tourists or visitors because of course we're all people. If you tell them please don't stand here, it might be dangerous for you, go stand over there, I've never had them disrespect that. Just be polite and ask them to keep themselves and the pilot safe. Drinking and flying. Look at this dude. Yes, he is actually drinking beer on a takeoff before flying. Now I have stopped trying to dissuade people from drinking and flying when encountering them. I've done it a lot of times and the response is always the same. Mind your own business, I know what I'm doing and I'm the only person that gets hurt when I'm drinking, right? Now, let me tell you a little story. It was, I think 4 or 5 years ago, I encountered a harness with a paraglider already unfolded with an opened half-liter can of beer. Dead center of a launch location. And I was looking around and I saw a pilot approaching me. It turned out to be his harness. And that was still the time period in which I thought it wise to discuss with pilots that this is improper behavior. So I opened up a conversation with him, which was a bit difficult due to the language barrier. But I asked him, and I pointed towards the beer, why he was doing that. And he looked all puzzled at me, guzzled down the last remaining half of that can, and then he smashed the can and he threw it in a plastic bag that he brought with him, which he put into his harness. And then he apologized to me and I asked him what was happening. And he told me that he thought that I was angry with him because I was about to litter the takeoff location. And that's something that he would never do. So I tried to explain to him once again that alcohol in general inhibits your thinking and flying abilities. But I just looked into his empty eyes and I knew that this message was not reaching him. What you can do, however, and which I recommend that you do, is make sure that you form a complete mental picture of this pilot on the ground. Try to get as much information on how he or she looks like, so that you can recognize this pilot once in the air and keep an extra safety margin, an extra distance between you and that person. What I lately have started doing, if they do not have their wing properly laid out yet, I just ask them casually, what kind of wing are you flying? What colors? Oh, you're flying the red and blue wing? Thanks a lot. By the way, I do think that drinking and flying go very well together, but then it should be drinking after the flying.
So after flying, it's very important to drink the proper kind of beer. You can see Elcho demonstrating how it goes. You lift it up, tilt it backward, yes, and you take a sip. Now it's important to drink Belgian beer. It doesn't have to be this brand particularly, but any Belgian triple beer will do.
I promised you something extra for the end of this video, because I managed to get it on camera. The zipper destructor. Take a look at this picture. This lovely lady has trouble closing her backpack. That probably is due to inefficient packaging. But the way that she's trying to solve it is exerting a huge amount of force on the zipper itself. That's not the proper way to close a bag that has trouble closing. First, make sure that you properly organize everything you have inside. Maybe you need to fold over the harness and compress it a little bit before you close the extra straps and then close the zipper. A zipper should never require more force than you are able to exert with 2 fingers. A zipper should just close like this, even if there is a lot of tension on the zipper itself. Just make sure you solve that tension by putting pressure on the zipper to the both sides of the zipper that's closing. Make sure you relieve that tension, maybe by pushing on it, and then with the other hand close the zipper. Next time when you are standing on a lounge, I hope you'll try to practice the situational awareness thing. The bigger things, but also the smaller things, which can help you in flying with less stress and more skills. So do you recognize any of these items? I would love to hear. Leave me a comment, please. Now I hope you're deciding to stick around. When you do, I can highly recommend the top video here. It's one that I selected personally for you. And the video down there is one the YouTube algorithm thinks you should watch. See you next time. See you in the air.